Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob. I'll be your host. Sometimes in Dungeons & Dragons, game masters like use strange settings for their campaigns in D&D, such as science fiction type campaign settings, modern campaign settings. Myself, I sometimes like to run games in a post-apocalyptic type of setting. But there is a game that Wizards of the Coast put out using the rules for Dungeons & Dragons in a modern setting, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video, D20 Modern. To play this game, you will need a copy of the core rulebook and a full set of dice, which contains a 20-sided die, a 12-sided die, preferably two 10-sided dice for rolling both percentiles and tens, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, and a 4-sided die. So let's go ahead and get started. The game itself, D20 Modern, has 384 pages and a copyright of 2002. It was published by Wizards of the Coast. The artwork in this book is pretty good. It's got a kind of a comic book type feel to it. So let's go ahead and look at that artwork. The artwork in this book is all in full color, with the pictures in it looking somewhat comic bookish, with several action scenes scattered throughout the book. Even some of the monsters get their own pictures in this book, showing them as they may appear in a modern setting. But by far, I think this one is my favorite. In the beginning of this book, it goes over character creation, which is pretty standard for a D20 game. First, you roll your attributes, 3 6-sided dice, add them together for your total, and put them into the attributes, which are the standard for a D20 game, which consists of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. After that, you want to pick a class. There are no races in this book. Everybody's just human. The classes you can pick from each kind of fit with a different attribute. The classes themselves are the strong hero, the fast hero, the tough hero, the smart hero, the dedicated hero, and the charismatic hero. The classes function just like regular classes that you'd find in Dungeons & Dragons. They only go up to 10th level, which prompts you to either multi-class or take on a advanced class once you meet the requirements. The classes themselves have what's called talent trees in them, so as you progress levels, you can pick or choose different talents as long as you meet the requirements for them. So you get an array of character classes that can do different things in the same class. The advanced classes in this game, which take the place of prestige classes, are the soldier, the martial artist, the gunslinger, the infiltrator, the daredevil, the bodyguard, the field scientist, the techie, the field medic, the investigator, the personality, and the negotiator. After you pick your class, you'll pick an occupation. The occupation describes what your character does for a living, pretty much. Be it a cab driver, a fast food worker, whatever. The occupations give you some class skills that will stick with your character as a class skill, regardless of what class he picks. It'll also give you a few other bonuses, and also sets your wealth bonus, which we'll talk about in a minute. This book doesn't use alignments for the characters. Instead, you have allegiances. Your allegiance can be a person or a group, an occupation, a nation, a religious belief, whatever. It's just something you believe in. And that takes the place of an alignment in this game. One of the other things they have in the character classes is a reputation score. The reputation score is added to certain roles where your character's reputation precedes them and can benefit them or act negatively towards them, depending on what kind of reputation you have. After that, there's an equipment chart. The equipment chart has lots of modern day equipment that you can buy, vehicles, weapons, that kind of thing. And that's where your wealth bonus comes into play. Instead of using gold pieces or any kind of money like that, you have your wealth bonus, which is used to purchase things. Every item in this book, in the equipment, has a difficulty number for its purchase. Certain items are tougher to get than others, and you roll a 20-sided die and add your wealth bonus against the item's difficulty purchasing number to see if you can buy the item. For more expensive items, your wealth bonus will go down a point or two, depending on how hard it is to get the item. And certain events in the game, will increase your wealth bonus. And that's pretty cool. A little confusing, but it's a mechanic to the game. After that, we get into the combat section, which goes over combat, and it's pretty good. Functions just like any other D20 game. Then there's a section on the rules, and one of the things they've added to this game is the action point. As your character gains levels, he gains a certain number of action points. Action points can be spent to augment roles in the game. Depending on your level you roll. When you spend an action point, you roll so many 6-sided dice and add them to your die roll to accomplish things. Once the points are spent, they're gone. You gain new action points once you gain a new level. And the Game Master could, if he wanted, reward action points for certain deeds done in the game. The book also has a chapter devoted to creatures that you might run into in the game, which is really neat because it gives you a modern day representation of your classic creatures that you'd find in Dungeons & Dragons, such as the kobold, the ogre, the orc, the mummy, the Medusa, that kind of thing, which I like. After that, there's a chapter for giving you some campaign ideas, some story ideas that you could possibly run in this game. The campaigns set in this game, you have one called the Shadow Chasers, which is kind of like a supernatural game where you're hunting demons and other supernatural creatures. It gives you 2 new advanced classes that are specific to that setting. The next setting in the game is called Agents of Psi, which is a game for like a psionic type game where you have psionices, and it gives you 2 more advanced classes that you could add to your game, and some rules on using psionic powers. The third campaign setting in this book is called Urban Arcana, which is basically Dungeons and Dragons set in the modern time. And again, it gives you 2 more advanced classes to use in your game. After that, there's a chapter on FX abilities, which goes into describing how psionics works and how magic works in the game. It gives you some psionic powers and some spells for your game. The advanced classes in the campaign modules in the book can be used outside of those campaign modules, which is good. And that's really about it in this book. I like it. So brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? Yes, I would, and I have. It was pretty fun. I only played a character a couple of times, but it was pretty good. It was a kind of like a special agent type of deal campaign setting, so there wasn't any magic or anything, but it was really good. Would I run this game? Yes, I would, and I have. I've run this game to play a modernized Dungeons & Dragons setting. I've played it to run a G.I. Joe setting. I've even written up some stats to run a Transformers game using D20 Modern as my rules for it, which was really fun. Would I recommend this game? Yes, I would. If you haven't played D20 Modern, you should check it out. It's a really good D20 game, and it's set up so that you can do just about anything in this with these rules. You can use the magic to run a D&D style in a modern age. You can run special agents. Anything you think of, you could probably use this book for. So yes, I would recommend it. If you haven't tried it, you should check it out. That's pretty much all I got to say for D20 Modern. Thank you for joining me at this quick look at what you can find inside the D20 Modern book. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.